We just, as you mentioned, rode along with not Border Patrol, but ICE agents in Maryland, and we saw the agents arresting sex offenders, suspected gang members, the individuals that the president has promised to deport from the country. He often talks about getting rid of the worst who are in the country illegally. But we have also seen ICE arrest day laborers outside of Home Depots, in some cases farm workers, people attending their court hearings in immigration court. Is the policy still to prioritize the arrest and deportation of people who are here illegally, but also are violent offenders?
Yes, ICE is going to focus on the worst of the worst. And that's what we do need to focus our limited resources on. That's one thing I've always said from the start. What's, again, frustrating for me is the fact that we would love to focus on these criminal aliens that are inside a jail facility, right? A local law enforcement agency, state agency already deemed that person a public safety threat and arrested them, and they're in detention. I'd much rather focus all of our limited resources on that to take them into custody. But we do have to go out into the community and make those arrests. And that's where you are seeing those increase of, if we encounter someone, say, that is here in the country legally, we will take them into custody. In regards to the work site, like you mentioned, one thing that I really like to highlight, especially what kicked off June 6th in LA, is the fact that when you see ICE doing these work raids, like the marijuana grow farm, we are going there with criminal search warrants or criminal arrest warrants. Not only are we focused on those individuals that are, working here illegally, we're focused on these American companies that are actually exploiting these laborers, these people that came here for a better life, either forced labor, child trafficking. A lot of these worksite cases just isn't a victimless crime of someone here working illegally. And that's why we're going there with these criminal warrants, to focus on these American businesses that are trying to make an extra dollar on the backs of these people that came here for a better life.
So you are planning on holding accountable the employers, the companies that are hiring people who are here illegally, not just the workers?
100%.
Because that has been a concern.
I'll say it again, sanctuary cities are sanctuaries for criminals. And I'm going to work very hard with Secretary Noem to keep President Trump's promise and his commitment several weeks ago that sanctuary cities are now our priority. We're going to flood the zone. You don't want to let us into jail to arrest a bad guy in the safety and security of a jail. You want to release him into the street, which makes it unsafe for the community, makes it unsafe for the officer, makes it unsafe for the alien. Because anything can happen on a street arrest. So what we're going to do, we're going to have more agents in New York City to look for that bad guy. So sanctuary cities get exactly what they don't want, more agents in the community and more agents in the work site. If we can't arrest that bad guy in the safety and security of the county jail, then we'll arrest him in the community, and we'll arrest him in the jail. And when we arrest him in the community, if he's with others that are in the country illegally, they're coming too. Sanctuary cities are sanctuaries for criminals. President Trump is not going to tolerate it. And I'll work every day with Secretary Noem to make sure we get as many bad guys, illegal aliens out of this country that we
Whoa. All right, folks. We have a show lined up for you tonight. It is Monday, our Monday Night Live, and it's time for Pop in Politics. Folks, we are talking, of course, about illegal immigration, Tom Homan. We're talking about that. We're talking about the bombshell interview today with Hunter Biden. I mean, that was so bad. It was so good. And much, much more. I'm KJ. Let me introduce you to my co-host. Of course, we have Nicole Bennett.
Hey, everybody.
And Shelly E.
Hi.
All right. Yana is feeling under the weather today. Hopefully she will be back on Wednesday. All right, folks, as you all come in, light this fire, do your part, tap that thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, and turn on your notifications. All right. So we need your help, folks. We have a goal to hit 200,000 subscribers by Labor Day. And we cannot do it without your help. So please, as you guys come in, hit that like button. It helps to get us out in front of a wider audience, and subscribe. We're live on YouTube and Rumble. If you're on the go, you can catch us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify under the name Pop and Politics. We love our chat. Looks like we already have a super chat tonight. Thank you all so much. Let's see here. We got Kung Fu CJ says, hello, Poppin' Politics family. Let's get into this. We are going to get into it. Oh, we're going to dig hard. Dig. Yes, we're going to get into it. So thank you so much, Kung Fu CJ. And that is the best way to get your voice heard in the conversation and to show mainstream media that we are here, we exist, they cannot silence us. This is not just a podcast. This is a movement of God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving people that value freedom. Stand with us and subscribe so we can amplify this rallying call for freedom. All right, ladies, let's set it off. Let's get into that interview. Acting ICE Director Todd Lyons just made it crystal clear. The days of turning a blind eye to employers hiring illegal immigrants are over. He was interviewed with CBS News, and, he was not playing around. Basically, sanctuary policies, big business loopholes, and don't ask, don't tell hiring practices are on notice. Want to get your thoughts on this, Nicole. Before I do, I just saw a big super chat. Yes. Tijuana border jumper. Wow.
Hi, Tijuana. Hey,
yes.
We missed you.
Yes, we did. We were asking about you in the last couple of broadcasts. He says, let's start the Monday off right. Sorry, I've been working too much, but watch the replays. Hi, Nicole. And the lovely hostesses. Thank you so much. Thank you. We really appreciate you. Wow.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed. Thank you. All right. So, Nicole, what did you think about that exchange? Now, you mentioned this on Friday. And Yana mentioned it as well, about them going after employers. Here he is on Sunday saying just that.
It's about time. I mean, this is not new. When employers hire people who aren't cleared, there is a fine for that. I mean, it's a much smaller fine than I'd like to see. But if we're really going to get serious about getting massive amount of people out of here, it has to be on more than just one front. We just can't go out and cherry pick arrest people. Yes, if we have to come into a sanctuary area to chase them throughout the community, and they happen to be with their girlfriend who's illegal, their mother who's illegal, their cousin who's illegal, or lead them back to an apartment complex full of illegal people, everybody's going. So it would make better sense if these so-called sanctuary cities would go ahead and say, listen, you can come and get them at the jail where it's safe for you, safe for them, safe for everybody, but they're not on that vibe. What's going to end up happening, though, is as the government starts to crack down on businesses, especially people who rent homes, write mortgages, sell cars, and employers, when they start to tighten that noose, what you're going to see is people have no incentive to stay. It'll stop people from coming, and it'll make the ones that are here reconsider staying. So it's a good look. Definitely a good look.
Yeah, Shelly. I mean, jobs are the #1 magnet for illegal immigration. So cracking down on employers removes the incentive. What are your thoughts on that?
In the words of the great musician Doggy Fresh, they're coming for Lottie Dottie, everybody. That's what they're coming for. And come on, Tom Homan. Come on, I forget his name, the guy there.
Lyons.
Just come to the borders, come to the cities, come. Flood the American landscape with ICE agents, DHS agents, and get the illegals out. I don't care if they're in a job, if they're on the street, if they are in the MVA where you have to still you want to speak in English or Spanish. Come, Lottie, Dottie, everybody. Employers, there's an incentive, yes, because that incentive is there for them to work at a lower wage. But guess what? When people need jobs, there's also an incentive for them to just work. If there's a job available, Americans, and pay the Americans. If you might have to pay more, so what? Americans deserve it. If they're going to work hard and they're going to put their labor out in time, then they deserve to be compensated as such. You can't just pay people under the table, if you will, or low wages just because of their race, quote unquote, or because of their ethnicity. I thought the Democrats were against that. Wouldn't they be against that? You would think. I mean, just because they want to exploit women and children, I thought Democrats cared about women and children. No, lottie dottie. Everybody go.
Yeah. Nicole, I like this narrative. I like this messaging because it puts Democrats in a tough spot. So supporting, working Americans or defend businesses that exploit undocumented labor. What do you think the reaction is going to be from the left?
Well, the left, they're going to continue to lose their shit. I mean, they're spinning out of control. They're really not participating in any of this new golden age of America. If they were smarter politically, if they were smarter, they would say, yes, we're going to line up all of the child rapists, the murderers. We're going to line them up and give them numbers and tell you where you can go pick them up at. But the people who they're trying to save, who've been here for years and, pay sales tax, and they think that's good enough to call themselves a half-wit American citizen, those are the people that the Democrats want to keep because traditionally they are Democrat voters. Traditionally, they're Democrat voters. But what the Democrats have chosen is this scorched earth kind of policy where they just say, no, you can't have anyone. And it's making them look bad. You mean we can't have the guy who raped 4 children? You want to keep him, right? You're going to fight to the death for him. The guy who's a human trafficker, we had quite literally our elected officials traveling to El Salvador to try to bring him back to a country that he doesn't belong in. So the Democrats have it all wrong. The key to this for the Republicans, though, is to not overplay our hand. You know how we do. Sometimes we get a little bit lost in the sauce and everybody's getting a little crazy with it. But if we stay the course and make sure that we're going after first the people who are the worst, and anybody who happens to be along with them. But if we can manage to get, I would say maybe 1 million, 1.5 million, that would look really good. We could really work with that. We could do some serious campaigning around that and hopefully get JD elected and he can finish cleaning it out. That would be a good thing for the United States.
Well, he also mentioned in that same, Todd Lyons, the acting ICE director, mentioned they are no longer sticking to criminal illegals. So they are now going after all illegals. Do you think that messaging is going to hurt Republicans? Shelley?
No, let me say this. I wouldn't say it might hurt some Republicans because it depends on how the message is spun or the narrative, if you will, is spun out in the media. However, Republicans are Americans and Americans are Republicans, Democrat, whatever the case may be. Being here illegally, crossing our border, yes, it's a civil offense, but no, it should not be allowed. We talked about this the last show. From 1986, when Ronald Reagan signed that amnesty bill, all the way up until recent times, amnesty, if you will, in any form does not work. It does not work well because the illegals are still coming. Under the Biden administration, there were more than 10 million illegals. When you have amnesty in place, but yet you still have 10 million illegals, something's not adding up. What's the point of it then? What is the purpose to have amnesty if you're still going to allow millions and millions of illegals? Many of them are hardened criminals to come in. It's not necessary, number one. And then more importantly, it does not work. Enforce the borders, close the borders, enforce the employer laws or employment laws or whatever, and get the illegals out. If you see, if they are being seen as being rounded up, like Tom Homan says, we're coming, send all the family together. Fine. We believe in families staying together. Send them home together. If people start seeing that, then the message will be much, much clearer.
I 100% agree with you, ladies. But as we've seen, especially here in Baltimore City, which is a sanctuary, which is a so-called sanctuary city, as many of these cities are, they are, pushing back against this. Now, as you mentioned, illegals willing to work for less drive down wages for legal workers, especially minorities and working class Americans. We see the brunt of this in urban areas. But you still have Black Americans voting for these Democrats that are for open borders and sanctuary cities. Why aren't they getting the messaging, Nicole, or do I have it wrong?
No, they're not getting the messaging. Some of them are, because I did meet on the cruise a young man. His name was Ashton, 24, 25, just got a decent job. You know, he's been shaking French fries since high school. He applied for a job with a construction crew. Hear that, that he had applied for 3 times before, and they told him they didn't need anybody. Well, guess what? Now they need somebody. This is what I was saying before. When we get these illegal people out of the way, it makes it easier for native born Americans to get the jobs that people say that Americans won't do. Hear me clearly. Americans have been doing those jobs since America, right? This is not new. We didn't just start eating when the Mexicans got here. That's not how any of this happened. But I think what it's going to take is for, and I'm sure me and Shelley are going to agree on this, it's going to take Congress to get off their asses and give us some legislation with some teeth in it that's going to clamp down on people who are making money on illegals being here. We need to raise the rate of taxes on the money that they send back home, because a lot of them are just here for the money. However they need to make the money, they're just here for the money. So instead of doing 1%, 2%, my humble suggestion is we tax that shit at 75%. You want to send money home? I'm taking 75 cents off of each damn dollar because you're here running my bills up, not $7,000 over the course of, 10 years to pay it back, or some kind of foolishness that Salazar was talking about. We need to get serious about it. And I would really like to see this Republican-led Congress and Senate do something other than hold Donald Trump's, jacket. I need them to actually legislate. I know everybody's busy with the midterms. Everybody's running for re-election. But wouldn't you like to have something to run on other than Donald Trump? Don't you want to stand on your own 2 feet as a legislator? Listen, write that bill, and America's going to love you for it. Do the right thing.
KJ, one more thing. Can I say this?
Sure.
Nicole, to your point. Actually, who's making money off of them? It's usually the elite, the very wealthy, the corporations, because poor people are not making money off of illegals being here. Poor people are getting pushed out further behind the ball, if you will. So who is it really benefiting to have illegals? If you take them out, maybe the people in Washington, D.C., Montgomery County, and any other state house across the country, maybe they will actually have to find hardworking Americans to pay what they call a living wage. Well, put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah. Well, this is what America First is all about. But before we leave this subject, I do want to talk about just the idea of immigration reform. So we were talking about it a little bit after last week's show. And the crazy thing is, I had someone who came up to me and a friend, and this person is Black, and they are not rich at all. And she was saying, well, what about these illegals who were brought here as children, and they had no way of not coming. They were brought here with their parents. Now they are adults, and they are illegal. Should they be? She was saying it's not fair for them to be deported. They've been here for multiple years. They don't know any other home other than America. What do you all say to that? Those people?
I say blame the parents. I get it. I can understand there may be some gray areas, if you will, nuances or whatever. But if they are still minors, then minors belong with their parents.
Well, no, they're no longer minors. These are people who
they're adults now.
They may be adults, maybe even maybe young adults, maybe teenagers.
They are still illegal. They're still illegal, technically, actually, factually, they're still illegal by no fault of their own, of course. But if they are here, I guess this lady, maybe she's putting forth a case for having a grandfather clause or something.
Right, that's what she was saying, yeah.
Maybe I'm going to say maybe that is a case for that. However, this goes back to the original argument, or the source of the argument is anchor babies. Basically, we need to stop it. That goes back to that source. So again, I'm not going to say no, they can stay, or no. I'm going to say by and large, in general, children belong with their parents, okay? And if we cut off this anchor baby birthright citizenship, whatever you want to call it, then if we get a hold on that, we still will have fewer and fewer of those circumstances.
Yeah.
Listen, I have a completely different take on that. As someone who knows a little bit about the immigration system, at 13, you can file for your own immigration. You don't need your parents. At 13, you can sign. Now, these people who bring their children here don't bring their children undocumented. They have passports from their home nation. It's not like they're sneaking out of their nations under the cover of darkness. They've done a lot of preparation, whether they flew here from African countries, whether they came here from Southeast Asia, no matter where they came from in the world, somebody's got this baby's name in a book somewhere. Many of these people have passports that belong to their home nation. Now, is it unfair? Yes. But you know what else is unfair? I'm not 5'10". I want to be 5'10". I've wanted to be tall my whole life. I've done more damn yoga stretching to get tall, but the Lord didn't see it that way. It is what the hell it is. And I don't mean to be angry or aggressive about it, but when your parents make a bad decision, it affects the children. When a parent goes out here and commits a crime, that child goes to foster care. Is it fair? No. Horrible things will likely happen to that child in foster care. But is it something that the parents gambled on? Yes. Oh, and by the way, these adult people, 17, 18, 19, 20, those people, they know they're illegal. Right. It's not a surprise. It's not like they woke up at 45 and was like, oh shit. No, they know they're illegal and they've had every recourse to get themselves together. Listen, in the barrio, there's a CASA on every doggone corner. There are immigration attorneys on every bus stop and everything else. They keep this status because they like to keep this status. This is something that's easy for them because the IRS ain't chasing them. You hear me? Mm-hmm. The IRS is not doing that. They're not getting letters from Annapolis. They're not getting letters from the MVA. And if they don't like this name, honey, they just pick another. It's a type of lifestyle that their parents have handed off to them. I feel badly for the people who say, I'm 12 and I can't do anything. Then you need an immigration attorney for sure. Yep. But 46, 32, no, boo-boo, you illegal because you chose to be illegal. And there are repercussions for your choices. Just like anything else in life. Sometimes parents are not the sharpest knives in the drawer. They do things that harm their children. And it's not on America to make that right because we don't make that right for our own native born citizens. So why would we make it right for someone who is a citizen of another nation? These are children who don't have a nation. They belong to that nation. They don't belong here. It is what it is.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Folks, sound off in the chat. I see a lot of you agree with what Nicole is saying. Sound off in the chat and let us know. We have some super chats here. Kung Fu CJ with a $5 super chat says you don't have to go home, but you have to get out of here. All right, there it is. Angel Eyes with the $20 super chat. Thank you so much. She says, thank God for spectacularly logical women like you. Wow. Thank you.
Angel.
All right. Red Buck with the $5 super sticker. We appreciate you. We appreciate you all. Thank you so much. As you all come in, hit that like button. We need that. That helps to get this broadcast out in front of a wider audience. And so without you, YouTube, nobody's going to see this. So those likes really help to get us out there. Please hit the like button and subscribe. We know we have a lot of new viewers here. We love you guys. Thank you so much for your support. Make sure you subscribe. Our goal is to hit 200,000 subscribers by the end of the summer, Labor Day, and we cannot do it without your help. We need every one of you. So please hit that subscribe button. We got another super chatter here. Thank you. Thank you. All right, let's see here. We have, all right, Rhonda, Iowa girl, says they should never be given citizenship and given the right to vote. Maybe allow them to be permanent residents. All right, with the $10 super chat. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We appreciate you all. All right. We are moving right along again, folks. We got to talk about the Hunter Biden interview. It was disgusting, and we're going to get into it. But before we do, we got to make a pit stop in Baltimore. Have you guys seen the viral images out of West Baltimore? It looked like a war zone. Thursday morning, last Thursday, after 27 people were hospitalized in what's being called a mass casualty overdose incident. Emergency crews flooded Pennsylvania and North Avenue, treating bodies sprawled out on the sidewalks. Yet somehow nobody's being held responsible. Take a look at this clip. This is clip 2.
In the Penn North corridor, history repeating itself. This time, the calls for an overdose coming in just before 9 a.m.
Overdose for Norfolk Monroe. Second dose of Narcan administered. I'm now getting a new overdose call, 1822 Clifton.
Second person overdosing here as well. It's just going to be one of those days again.
Baker 13, third dose of Narcan administered here in the North.
The Baltimore City fire chief later confirming 7 people experienced overdose symptoms here in West Baltimore. 5 individuals had to be transported to area hospitals, all in serious condition.
We do have data teams here right now.
The Baltimore Police Department now launching its second criminal investigation in just over a week. Detectives will again be interviewing any victims, witnesses, and collecting surveillance footage in an attempt to answer the same questions that remain unanswered in last week's mass casualty overdose that also happened here in the Penn North corridor.
CMS 5 responded to the request. Battalion Chief 6 on mass casualty event.
On July 10th, at least 27 people were transported to area hospitals, more than a half dozen of them in critical condition.
Wow. All right, let's get into this, folks. We do have another super chat. Kung Fu CJ, appreciate you. Thank you so much. Says it's called the New Jack City. Yes, it is, folks. These drug samples, they collected samples of this drug and found that found that a sedative called N-methylclozanapam, which was mixed with fentanyl, according to researchers at the National Institute of Standards and Technology. So public health experts involved in Baltimore's overdose prevention efforts say the test results highlight the unpredictability of the drug market, an ongoing concern for users and healthcare providers navigating a crisis that killed almost 700 people in the city of Baltimore alone last year. Now, Baltimore, I actually, from my research, I didn't know this, but Baltimore leads the country actually in highest overall marijuana use, cocaine, heroin, and meth. So it actually leads it, and Baltimore City leads that. Is from what it's actually between Baltimore and San Francisco when you look at it by population size. So this is a crazy. So I want to start off with you, Shelly. How did we get here, and who's really to blame?
Wow, that's a huge question. But how did we get here? We got here, I would say, number one, the 2 cities you named, Baltimore and San Francisco, notice they're both port cities. Okay, they're on the water. That's number one. Number 2, they're inner cities. They've been run by Democrats for a long time, the left. So one of the things I would point to is the policies that have been put forth for decades. Number 2, this drug mixing, we basically just call it clonazepam. It is a sedative. It's usually a psych drug, if you will. So now the drugs are not quote unquote strong enough by themselves. They're mixed and cut with whatever they can find. But all of these services, Baltimore also spends millions, if not billions almost, on what they call Brandon Scott wraparound services and partners and this house for this and this center for this nonprofit for this, whatever. And none of it's working. It's a black hole. And Pennsylvania Avenue and North Avenue, notice, if you all make sure you notice, that was the second overdose in as many days. I think 2 or 3 days. Thursday it was 27. Over the weekend it was 5 or more, however many, 7 people that were overdosed, if you will. So this is a drain on the cities, drain on the people. It's a drain on the economy, and all of these gimmicks, these political gimmicks, are not working. They have not worked. The war on drugs is still raging, certainly in Baltimore City.
Yeah, Nicole. I mean, like she said, like Shelly said, Baltimore, San Francisco, and Portland actually are becoming safe havens for open air drug markets. And we've been seeing this for years and years. What are your thoughts on this?
I think
zero accountability.
Right. I think the leadership of these cities have taken it upon themselves to write these people off, to make you hear it all the time, to decriminalize their drug use. They don't see this as the pebble in the pond with the ripples that go out and affect the whole community. They've just kind of written it off. These people are either going to kill themselves or we'll spend, hundreds of millions of dollars trying to save 10 people rather than resource that money to help more people who don't have a drug problem. It's unfortunate when you think about how they're helping these people be better drug addicts. And that's a hard thing to say, but when those fentanyl test strips became an issue here in the state, and they were saying, they're a penny a piece, it won't cost us much, it's just to save their lives. And then they did a test study and it came back exactly what we thought it was. They're not testing it for fentanyl to not use. They're testing it for fentanyl to make sure that it had fentanyl in it. So
Wow.
they don't think linearly. They're just looking for the next high that's going to get them high like the first time they got high. And it's a compulsion. Yes, it's a mental illness, but there is a criminality part to this. People should be able to walk around on Pennsylvania Avenue and Northern Avenue. You should be able to get around. You should not have to see, like I saw last week or 2 weeks ago, a guy so high that he was nodding from the waist up. I mean, he was like kind of like the letter R.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought, oh my God, he's going to fall into traffic. And he fell up against a tree and didn't wince, nothing, head all cracked open, just laying there bleeding. And his girlfriend leaned up against the building with a needle in her arm. We have to do better by our cities. We have to.
Yeah. So, before I give my take on this, take a look at this next video. So this is the mayor of Baltimore City on CNN talking about the response to the overdoses. Is it me or just watching? This is one interview, but just watching over the last several days, the leadership in Baltimore City, these Democrats, they seem giddy to me. They seem like they love this. Like they love this sort of what they call taking care of these, and as Shelly said, the wraparound services. Just look at this. This is clip 3.
The city's mayor is with me, Brandon Scott. Mayor Scott, thanks for joining us. So emergency teams learned of this widespread event after responding to just one call last Thursday morning. Tell us more about what happened.
Well, listen, thank you, Jake, for having me. This was a tragic incident, and we're grateful, most importantly, Jake, that there were no fatalities. It's important for us to understand in this incident a few things. First, Baltimore, and especially communities like Penn North, where this happened, have faced the brunt of the opioid epidemic for decades. And second, the investments that we have been making to provide care and resources and bring community partners to the table are the reason why we're able to respond so quickly. We know we're investigating, obviously, through our police department. They will lead that investigation into who put those drugs out, and we will find those people and we will remove them via law enforcement from our community. But secondly, we're going to continue to support that community, because when you talk about overdose and opioids in Baltimore, it's very personal for me, having grown up here and seen people and lost people through this crisis myself.
All right. So that was one interview. Then you should check out his Instagram. I mean, he made sort of like a mini video of this with music in the background. And you guys may think I'm harsh, but to me, at the core of all this is a Marxist ideology, and it's the rejection of individual accountability. Everything is the system's fault. So it's this mindset. And it has infected city leadership. Drug users are seen purely as victims, not moral agents with choices. And the result, and what I kind of felt with the whole feel and vibe of their response to this, is addicts are coddled not challenged to change.
Absolutely.
And so I was disgusted by the way they reacted to this this overdose thing. I mean, you have like almost 50 people overdosing in a small period of time. This is a clear open air drug market. The police sit and watch people cop for drugs, watch them get high. Nothing is done. Only thing is they say, oh, we can use the city services that we'll get funding for to provide wraparound treatment. And it's not even working. It's like my favorite word. It's a grift to funnel money into these so-called services that don't help, but somebody's getting paid.
And that's why they're giddy. That's the part that they're giddy about, because not only do they get the service or more money for the services that don't work, also it keeps them in power. This class of people, if you will, it keeps them, you know, putting them in the spotlight. Oh, we're going to take care of you. We're going to wrap our arms around you. This hurts our community. If people knew the history of Pennsylvania, I mean, you can Google it, look it up. Pennsylvania Avenue in North Avenue in Baltimore City, the wonderful, the beautiful, artistic, creative history that used to be there. And yes, and you compare it with the 27 plus bodies literally laying out in the middle of the day, no less. Okay, so, you know, there's still it's still a major corridor. Traffic goes through there. You know, the public transportation goes through there. There is a library on one of the corners there. There used to be I'm not sure if it's rebuilt, but there used to be a CVS that was torn down, rioting. I'm sorry, the peaceful protesters tore it down during the George Floyd and what was the other guy? Freddie Gray riots. Okay, so it's symbolic. It was emblematic of how the city is falling, while these people, mostly Black people, at least in Baltimore, in these positions. Jason Riley had written a book years ago. He's written a book. It's called False Black Power. These politicians are in power and they only enrich themselves, either socially, politically, financially, of course, at the expense of the communities which they are supposed to be serving. Brandon Scott he's just one person, but he's representative of the culture, the mindset that is infused, if you will, throughout Baltimore City and many cities across the country.
Yeah, well, Nicole, we're seeing this mindset throughout the Democrat Party. Now the socialist end of it, which is really taking over the entire party. Do you think they are intentionally pushing this dependency culture, this victimhood culture, one minute by just throwing out money into these communities, keeping people on welfare? Then now we have these so-called wraparound services. So instead of, you know, acknowledging accountability, they're they want giving out test strips and drug. So do you think this is intentional, or do they think this is going to help?
No, it's intentional. So you hit the nail on the head right off the top when you talked about funding, right? Because when you go anywhere else in this state and you talk to Marylanders about taxes, the first thing they say is, we're tired for paying for programs for Baltimore. We are sick of it. We are absolutely sick of it. Not because the people of the rest of this state don't have a heart, but they're not doing anything with it except for moving it to other places where they'd like to see funding. So once the allocation is made, although it's earmarked for a particular program, if you need a little bit of change over here, you can slide it over there. It just gives them more resources to play with. And as we know, when they start sliding money, most of it slides into somebody's pocket. It slides into somebody's, I don't know, $20K water bill. It slides into swimming pools in their mama's house. It slides to all different places. This is why people get so angry when you hear them say, well, this program didn't work. We're going to keep it, but we're going to build this new program that's going to be better than the old program. Well, if it's better than the old program, why do we still have the old program? And these programs have not shown any promise on changing this, but you know it would. And, you know, I don't mean to, because I don't live in Baltimore, but I'm just going to say this as a Marylander. Police enforcement. Let me tell you, they started locking people up. And I don't mean locking them up, patting them on the wrist. I mean putting them in jail 90 days, 270 days, somewhere where they can get real clean real fast If you're interested in saving people, that's how you do it. You send a message to the community that I'm going to make sure, as your sheriff, as your police department, that your community is safe. That's my job. As mayor of Baltimore, no, not that I'm just used to seeing heads and it's just a part of our mystique. And, I grew up around it, so it doesn't faze me. You shouldn't want people's children to grow up around it.
No, it's terrible.
Round them up too. Round them
up
and drop them on a ranch, a farm somewhere. Give them the jobs. Let them get clean by working. You round them up, get them detox and give them the jobs. Put them to work in the farms, whatever other jobs that the illegals are taking over with. Do that. Get them off the streets. Police, yes, I do. Wrap them up. Round them up.
Wait a minute now. You guys, this is very controversial because for years we have been told, and I'm surprised you're saying this, Shelly, honestly, we have been told that, these are the victims, the drug users, they have a disease. This is drug use. You can't lock them up. You shouldn't lock them up. They're not the issue because they have a disease. Now you all calling them for locking these people up?
No, were you surprised I said lock them up? I said round them up and take them and drop them in the jobs over in the farms or whatever, where the illegals need to be gone from. That's what I'm saying. Get them off our streets. Because if we put them in jail, we still got to pay for them. We still pay for them anyway. 3 hots in the cot. I'm saying get them detox, wrap them up, round them up. Like
that's what they're doing. That's what they're talking about doing with these wraparound services.
They're not detoxing them. They're giving them one drug for another. Methadone is another drug. Yeah. You're not clean, if you will, because you're taking methadone. No, they're not. They are pacifying them. They are putting one drug, trading one for the other. They're not. Is it any wonder, like you said, Nicole, the programs don't work? How is it for 30 plus years, all these drug detox places, and nobody pretty much comes out detoxed? You come out, you still high.
They traded one drug for another. So, yes, it's a mental illness because it's an addictive personality trait. However, lots of people have addictive personality traits, and it doesn't stop them from being productive citizens. The problem is when everybody says, well, this is just a part of who we are. It's a part of our culture. I reject that notion. I rebuke that stuff in the name of Jesus, honey. These are demons walking. Yeah. If you've ever seen them, they are not. Let me tell you, Shelly, you hit that on the head. The Walking Dead, and it is on the people who are supposed to keep that community safe. I don't want to hear it's inhumane. What's inhumane is allowing them to suffer like they're suffering now. Lock them up 270 days, and let me tell you, there's all kind of. Maryland is a largely agricultural state. There's all kind of chicken plants, crab picking plants, oyster plants on the shore where they have lots of scantily documented people who work there. You want a job? Well, keep your hands busy and your head thinking about something else. That's what you do. You have to give these people a chance to rebuild their lives, not more drugs to help them be better addicts. This is what these programs have done. You've built better addicts, and now you refuse to police them. That's outrageous. Absolutely outrageous.
Yeah, we have a lot of super chatters here, folks. Let's get into it. Thank you all so much. All right. Jen McMahon with the $20 super chat says fentanyl is the new G side. All right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Kung Fu CJ with the $5 super chat says my dealership was in that area off of North Avenue. Performance Motors. Wow. Oh. All right. Jen McMahon with a $10 super chat says he is exhibiting showboating behavior as a mayor, similar to Governor Newsom. Absolutely. Oh, yeah.
He's been doing it for a long time, Jen.
Yep. Yes, he has. Magnus with the $20 super chat says, love your channel. Thank you for your support. All right. Tijuana Border Jumper with the $20 super chat says, like Shelly says, open the books. Let's see where our hard-earned stolen taxes are going. Yes, indeed. All right, Jen McMahon again with the $20 super chat. I understand where Shelly is coming from. She's talking about getting people back to having good ethics. Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. You know me. I have always been a hard line on this type of behavior, especially the drug use. The way that it's the squalor that is pushed out in our communities, the crime that spins off from it. I think they need to take a much harder hand on this. I believe that they are doing it by design. They're creating a population dependent not only on drugs, on government services, Narcan, housing vouchers, harm reduction. It all right. It all ensures political loyalty and maintains power structures. And I think they are doing this intentionally. They don't want recovery. They want control. And so this is why they refuse to take a hard hand with law and order. We've seen it all over the place.
Absolutely.
So again, this whole crisis, this whole so-called drug crisis, it's a useful tool for these so-called revolutionaries. They want a broken system that justifies their Marxist kind of ideology of burn it all down. And that's what it is. Yeah. So
I want to add to what you're saying, and you're absolutely correct. But one of the things I think many people, and I'm just saying this generally, we get so seduced by by people who claim they want to help you, when it's really a disguise for controlling you. If someone wants to control you to the point of literally feeding you, shooting you up with drugs and all kinds of illegal and harmful substances, that's not help. That is control. And it's like KJ says, Marxist, that is evil. That's evil.
Exactly.
And it's so seductive because you think people are trying to help you and it sounds compassionate, and the people who put out the message, they look good, generally speaking, they're good looking, they're good on camera, and they have quote unquote the experience or the lived experience. But be wary of people who always want to come and just help you and pretty much help you stay in the position where you are.
But listen to this. But let me say this, and I gotta, provide some opposition, because the left and now the medical field institutions systems have now said that you have to. The only way to get off of many of these drugs is to wean them off with a lesser addictive, what they call drug, like methadone. This is what the medical establishment is saying.
Can I tell you what the medical establishment is based on? Money, honey, money. Let me tell you, and that's not medical. You're hearing from pharmaceutical people. Pharmaceutical people say, well, we got you strung out on this drug, but we'll take that one back and give you this new drug that doesn't have the bad connotation with it, but it's going to get you just as high as the last drug that you were on. It doesn't help. It just prolongs the agony. And
let me say that, Nicole, what you're saying as far as the medical side of it, yes, when people are detoxing and coming off of a high, it's very painful, like physically.
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
So there is a place, I'll say there is a place to help them, if you will, minimize the pain, if you will. Usually under a controlled environment, the pain medicine, it doesn't have to be a narcotic. It doesn't have to be this, nothing. It doesn't have to be, because guess what? When you go, if you were, a wealthy person, they can go to a lot of private facilities. They're not pumped up with other opioids and narcotics to get off of one narcotic. There are ways to ameliorate and help them as far as the pain while they are detoxing. But even more, don't take my word. I've never been a drug addict. Go to people who have been drug addicts and have been clean for 10, 20, 30 plus years. Talk to them and they will tell you the truth of what you really have to do. There's no way around the detoxing. There's no way around the withdrawals. That's a physiological, physical, mental condition that you're going to have to go through. But there are plenty of people who have come off of drugs and remained off for numbers of years that will tell you what you really have to do.
Listen, when you have what we call the golden hour, right? After you give them Narcan and they start to rouse, you got about a hot 45 minutes where they're not craving the drug and they want help. That's the time that you have to help them. But for the most part, when you have these kind of incidents where there are 20 people, laid out across the street, you're not hitting that window with these people. It is inhumane to allow them to continue to suffer. And what it does to everybody else. Again, this is that pebble in the pond theory again. People say, oh, well, it's a victimless crime. They're just kind of hurting themselves. No. When I broke my toe, I could not get appropriate pain medication because the crackheads out here or the heroin heads out here are making it difficult for people who have actual pain to have to deal with it. Ice, ice is only good if you put vodka in it. I'm just going to tell you, when you're in pain, ice does not help. And I don't know if that's something that America has ever thought about. I don't think many Americans have made that connection between people using drugs in the street. And now you take a card off of the pen at CVS to get a cough medicine. It's because of them. It's because we've allowed them to be lawless. They have affected everybody else's life, and it's got to stop. We have got to stop legislating or making rules for everybody because there's just one small group that won't get it together. That's not the way this is supposed to be done.
Yeah, it's sad. It's sad. I know Laura says, I know drug addicts and they try to get help, but the detox places keep them high. And it's so true. I mean, you have methadone clinics all over Baltimore City. They're increasing. They're putting them in places where they never were before. And you see the people. I mean, they used to, you could see them coming from the methadone clinics early in the morning. They coming out high as a kite. And it's just so sad to see, particularly when it's young people, because younger and younger, more and more younger and younger people are getting on these narcotics, these hard drugs. And I pray for our young people. I pray that God puts a supernatural healing on them, and so that they don't even try these drugs. Don't even try them. And that they're just made in a certain way, or they're provided a certain way where they have no inkling, no even want to try it. If they get to feeling like they want to try it, it make God send a huge pain and it thaw through their bodies from the top of their head to the bottom of their toes, so that they say, no, I do not want to try it. Because I mean, one time can change your life.
One time can kill you. But I'm gonna tell you, what would help your prayer is if the police started locking people up. I mean, this is ridiculous to allow this kind of lawlessness. It's like, I'm waiting for Baltimore to say it's okay to rob the banks because, your girl's pulling up. I'm just telling you, I'm going to pull up with a bag and be like, oh, no, they're not arresting people today. It was like in California when they decriminalized shoplifting. Right. You couldn't have a business. There's people in there just taking stuff off the shelf and daring you to touch them, daring you to call the police. We cannot be a nation with no law. We have to have the law. We have to.
Yeah. I agree. All right. And we have some super chatters here, folks. Thank you all so much. All right. Tijuana Border Jumper with the $10 super chat says, as a recovered alcoholic of 15 years, it's necessary to detox under medical supervision. I was blessed. I had excellent insurance. Recovery is an expensive endeavor done right.
Absolutely. Yep. You got it.
Yes, indeed. I'm so happy that you recovered Tijuana Border Jumper. Kung Fu CJ with the $10 super chat says, KJ hit the nail on the head. Democrat socialism leads to communism. Once they have control, they will crack down on crime. All right. Our prayers go out to anyone who is battling with addiction. Mm-hmm. We pray that you're able to get off of it as quickly as possible. All right. Well, speaking of addiction, let's move on to this Hunter Biden segment. Folks, this is crazy. So I don't know if you guys saw it, but again, the Biden family drama just exploded on camera. On camera, this man acted like a pure fool. And this time it's Hunter Biden. This is what we're talking about. He went nuclear on George Clooney, James Carville, what's her name? Nancy Pelosi. I mean, he went off the entire Democrat elite. I mean, this footage is raw, it's unhinged, and it's everything wrong with the Democrat Party right now. I want you to take a look at this first clip where he's actually talking about smoking crack. This is clip 8.
No. Do you know what I mean? Like,
well, because they think cocaine, Scarface, very cool. Yeah. Crack cocaine, they think The Wire.
Oh, in that sense? Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
They don't know how similar the chemical compounds are.
Well, the only difference between crack cocaine and cocaine is sodium bicarbonate and water and heat, literally. That's it.
And those things are pretty much free if you go to like a science store.
This is free. You can go to your neighborhood convenience store and just get. Anyway, I don't want to tell people how to make crack cocaine, but it literally is a mayonnaise jar of cocaine and baking soda.
How different is the experience?
Oh, it's vastly, vastly different. And like for real, I feel really reluctant to kind of have some euphoric discussion. I know you're not asking me to do that, but have some euphoric discussion about crack cocaine.
I think this might be kind of the opposite here.
Okay, no, it's the exact opposite. I'm saying I don't want to have the experience of some euphoric recall. That's how powerful crack cocaine is. Does crack cocaine make you act any differently? No. Is it safer than alcohol? Probably. People think of crack as being dirty. It's the exact opposite. When you make crack, what you're doing is you're burning off all the impurities so that it combines with the sodium bicarbonate, which makes it smokable. That's all. You know, all of these actors and, people in the past that talked about they had a problem with cocaine and freebasing. They were smoking crack.
So straw on the stove is the same thing?
Not exactly, but close to it. But it's a little bit different. But anyway.
What? 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 Crack is safer than alcohol? Oh my God. Shelly, what are your thoughts to this segment here?
Look, I don't know about that. In this case, I trust Hunter Biden's judgment on that. I mean, hell, I don't know. I can't say that he's wrong. But nevertheless, I get his point. He was talking about the differences, the class differences about who uses what one, which type of the drug or which form of the drug. But again, a drug addict telling you about drugs, I probably would take his word more than the Brandon Scotts in the pharmacy saying, oh, it's okay, and flooding the cities with all of the other one narcotic for the other. Nevertheless, Hunter Biden is he's pretty lit in not a good way.
This man, first of all, I will tell you, as someone who grew up around drug users with multiple, that's one thing I know about drugs. Crack is worse than alcohol. Okay, it's highly addictive. That's number one. Number two, when they are high on crack, they are nuts. They are nuts. This man, he's lying, or he's just, I don't know what he's doing, playing up for the camera. What are your thoughts on this, Nicole?
Yeah, he's playing up for the camera. When there's a chance for someone who's always craved the spotlight to have it, and they finally get it, I mean, they let loose, and that's what we saw. This was like a torrent of diarrhea from his mouth about all kind of things, just espousing all of his crackhead ideas. Now, I've lived in the city for a very long time before I moved to the country. So, crackheads will try to sell you an old battery and a bottle cap, telling you if you put the two together that, the second coming of Jesus will appear before you, because their senses are altered. And what we saw here with Hunter Biden is that he may have some difficulties cognitively because of his recreational use of drugs. And that's unfortunate. But we also saw what we used to see from Joe Biden.
Yeah.
That famous Biden anger and that famous Biden shit talking.
Yeah, we're going to get to that. Let's get to that. Yes, let's get to that, Nicole. Check him out in this next video. This is clip 5.
Opinions, but fuck him and everybody around him.
I don't have to be fucking nice. Number one, I agree with Quentin Tarantino. Fucking George Clooney is not a fucking actor. He is a fucking, I don't know what he is. He's a brand. And by the way, and God bless him. You know what? He supposedly treats his friends really well. You know what I mean? Buys them things. And he's got a really great place in Lake Como. And he's great friends with Barack Obama. Fuck you. What do you have to do with fucking anything? Why do I have to fucking listen to you? What right do you have to step on a man who's given 52 years of his fucking life to the service of this country and decide that you, George Clooney, are going to take out basically a full-page ad in the fucking New York Times to me and James Carville, who hasn't run a race in 40 fucking years, and David Axelrod, who had one success in his political life, and that was Barack Obama. And that was because of Barack Obama, not because of fucking David Axelrod. And David Plouffe, and all of these guys, and the Pod Save America guys, who were junior fucking speechwriters in, on Barack Obama's Senate staff, who have been dining out on the relationship with him for years, making millions of dollars. The Anita Dunns of the world, who's made $40, $50 million off the Democratic Party. They're all going to insert their judgment over a man who has figured out, unlike anybody else, how to get elected to the United States Senate over 7 times, how to pass more legislation than any president in history, how to have a better midterm election than anybody in history, and how to garner more votes than any president that has ever run. And they're going to replace their judgment for his.
Not to mention,
Who's Jake Tapper's audience? Jake Tapper?
my mom or something? I don't know.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
For real, though. I don't even think it's your mom anymore.
No.
By the numbers, what influence does Jake Tapper have over anything? He has the smallest audience on cable news. And beyond that, I think that the book is right now on Amazon that he put out. I mean, his ratings just went to shit after he put the book out. You know, they did a 2-week infomercial for it. I mean, it was such a money grab, such a disservice to everybody that he serves with.
Wow. I mean, tell him why you mad, son. He's hurt. Who hurt you, Hunter? Who hurt you? You got a pardon. You should be, sitting away in the sunset somewhere. Shelly, what are your thoughts on that?
First of all, is that a rehab location where he is? Because the way he's dressed, he looks like he's in a rehab farm somewhere, a rehab home somewhere. That's number one. That's why I think he's high. I think he's lit there. But let me tell you about James Carville and Axelrod. One thing they do have are 2-time candidates each time, Clinton and Barack Obama. So they do know something, Hunter Biden, about getting people elected, particularly to the presidency, and 2 times in a row. So that's number 2. Number 3, Hunter is not so much that he's not just upset. He's upset that his gravy train has come to a collision. It has collided. It has stopped. Now, yes, Biden, the family has millions or whatever, but nobody is taken in by your fake art. Okay, you can't go to Ukraine and China and wherever else and make these phony deals representing your father as if you are the president of the United States. That's all stopped. So therefore, this is why Hunter is really upset. And as far as Tapper and Clooney, okay, whatever. Tapper is a kind of a fraud, if you will. Clooney, whatever, he's an actor in his own right. But they all basically pulled the curtain or opened the curtain when they could no longer benefit from the gravy train either. That's what Hunter is upset about.
Yeah. Before I get you in here, Nicole, I want to play this next clip and get your response to this. This is where he slams white men. Clip 6.
And he's somehow convinced all of us that these people are the fucking criminals. White men in America are 45 more times likely to commit a fucking violent crime than an immigrant. And the media says, well, you got David Axelrod and, Rahm fucking Emanuel. So fucking smart, Rahm Emanuel. And said, we got to understand that these people are really mad. And we got to appeal to these white voters. Rahm, the only people that fucking appealed to those fucking white voters was Joe Biden, 81 years old. And he got 81 million votes, and he did not because he appeased their fucking Trumpian sense, but because he challenged it. And he said, you can be an 81-year-old Catholic from fucking Scranton that doesn't understand it, but still has empathy for transgender people and immigrants. Then nobody said, oh, Joe Biden's going to turn us into a socialist state, no matter how much they said it. But these guys think that we need to run away from all values in order for us to lead. I say, fuck you. How are we getting those people back from fucking El Salvador? Because I'll tell you what, if I became president in 2 years from now, or 4 years from now, or 3 years from now, I would pick up the phone and call the fucking president of El Salvador and say, you either fucking send them back or I'm going to fucking invade. It's a fucking crime what they're doing. He's a fucking dictator thug.
Bukele or Trump?
Both.
Wow, Nicole. So he's talking about illegal immigration. Of course, he blames the white man. What are your thoughts there?
Oh, Hunter. The truth of the matter is, Hunter is espousing things he likely has heard his father say many times.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Biden ascended to the presidency, and I use those words lightly, not because he's some great legislative power, but because he was a white man. Let's do that. That's how his daddy got to be president and how he got this set to sell photographs of vomit and paint worldwide for millions and millions of dollars. Shelley's right. He's angry that the gravy train has stopped. But Joe Biden, prior to becoming president in his, let's say, late 50s, was a very angry man. Mm-hmm. He was always screaming and hollering and cussing and throwing stuff. People did not like him. He was not likable at all. In fact, many Democrats feared him. But you want to know a couple of Democrats who didn't? Axelrod. And let me tell you, he can say what he wants to say about James Carville, but James Carville is a powerhouse in politics. I don't care what side of the aisle you sit on. His former wife, I don't know if they're still married, Marlee Matlin, was on the Republican side of the aisle. These were two people who took American politics very seriously, regardless of your Democrat, Republican. Is he a very wealthy person with very wealthy person tendencies? Yes. But Hunter's problem is not just the crack, because he's clearly high in this interview, or the questions, but he's already got a temper. He's got his dad's temper. He's pissed because the money's been cut off, and the money that they have, if he thinks for 1 second Jill's going to let him have unfettered access to that money, he is mistaken. He is mistaken. She'd probably pull his eyelashes out to protect her investment after years sleeping with that maniac. Are you serious? Yeah. She would fight him tooth and nail to protect her investment in the Biden empire. He's got to stay in rehab. He's got to get himself together, or we'll be burying him.
Yeah. This man is trash. This man is trash. And he, I don't feel sorry for him. I think he's very what is the word?
Pampered and coddled. He's been protected.
Exactly.
Privileged.
Privilege. That was what was good. Privilege.
Like Democrats say, white people, white privilege. He is the poster boy for white privilege.
Exactly. And despite being the son of a career politician, he was raised with wealth, access, and power. He lashes out with such vulgar street level profanity like a thug on the corner of Baltimore City and North and Penn. He's got an Ivy League educated. He doesn't sound like it. His son he's the son of a U.S. president. And he gives this angry tirade filled with F-bombs. To me, he's no different than you see these sexy red rappers, Cardi B. He's actually worse because at least they have an excuse somewhat. They grew up in poverty and, dog eat dog world, in the dog eat dog environments of New York City and things like that. This guy comes from money. And he's talking like this and acting like this. But you know what? It's because, as you mentioned, this is what happens when you combine privilege with zero accountability. Absolutely. You got Hunter Biden, a man who grew up in mansions, but still speaks like a cracked out street hustler.
Because he still is.
That's who he is.
Do we still not know who left the cocaine in the White House? We still don't have the closure on that, right? Right. We still don't. But you know what? If I had an ounce of sympathy or empathy, or not empathy, because I've never been a drug dealer, I'm not a drug addict. But if I had an ounce of sympathy for Hunter, this is what I would point to. I believe his father use these children, use his children. He used his children for his own political gain. He had them so wrapped up in this power and privilege that they were really, their own identity was never developed on their own. They never really came into their own as adults, as people. It was all about what Joe Biden, and I guess to a large extent Jill Biden, what they wanted. It was almost like a groomer. Like a groomer in trafficking children. I mean, there are some, rumors, if you will, about Joe and his daughter in the shower. But if I had an ounce of sympathy, I would say that it's the parent that basically smothered the child to the point only for the parent's benefit. That's what I would say.
I would think he didn't pay him any attention. He was so.
It was all about Joe Biden,
right? Yeah,
an incredibly permissive environment, where everybody is looking out for number one and trying to, feed the nest egg. Here's this kid who clearly has problems, and instead of getting him, quote unquote, the help he needs that they can afford to give him, he turns to what poor people turn to: drugs, alcohol. But he has enough money to have good drugs and good alcohol
and good recovery.
Listen, excellent recovery services if he wanted them. But this plays into that theory that not everybody wants to be clean. Maybe his purview of the world is better for him when he's cracked out. The problem is he won't last long. He won't last long.
Well, he avoids any reflection on his drug abuse, the corruption, the exploitation of the Biden name. He blames everybody else for his father's downfall. And that's a terrible, terrible disposition to be in. No self-accountability. But this is the Democrat playbook. This is how they want America. They want us blaming other people. They blame everybody. Blame racism. They blame, white men. They blame men. It goes around. This is all they do. Blame, blame, blame. And he is the child of that type of blame game. And it's clear to see. It's clear. I mean, here's one last clip of him where he blames Nancy Pelosi. Now, this maybe have some truth to it. This is clip 7.
And you would have the Speaker Emeritus that would say, well, I'm going to leave it up to, but I don't know. And they had already made a decision. They had clearly made a decision. And when I say they, I mean the speaker. And, I heard Alexandra Pelosi say something, call my like, put your big girl pants on to my mom or something. And I kind of feel like saying, who the fuck do you think you are? I would never speak about your mom that way.
Yeah.
I would never speak about your father that way. I would never insult your parents that way. Even to this day, I would never.
What's wrong with this man? All right, you guys are sounding off with the super chats. Let me acknowledge you guys. Thank you all so much. All right, let's see here. All my hoes demonetized. Says, tell them Nikki, Nicole, and Shelly say it jail. 3 with
jail.
Yes, thank you. Kung Fu CJ says he was high in this interview.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, he was.
Yes, he was.
Josh, hey Josh, with a $20 super chat. Says he is definitely still high, and this is the gutter trash that has been stealing from the taxpayers and wants to continue to fund the killing in Ukraine while lining his own pockets. He shows zero remorse or humility. I 100% agree. Yes, indeed. Jonathan with the $50 super chat.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. We appreciate you guys.
Yes.
This goes a long way in helping us produce conservative content. Also, as you all come in, hit that like button. It helps to get our video out in front of a wider audience. We need that. Our goal is to get to 200,000 subscribers by Labor Day, and we only can do it with your help. Thank you all so much. But as you come in, hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Subscribe. All right. Yeah. I mean,
look, KJ, we were talking about drugs earlier in the Baltimore, the overdose. One of the things that people on drugs, particularly habitually so, to an abusive level, it does change your brain chemistry. It does change the way your brain is supposed to operate. So at some point, like the Hunter Bidens, he looks high to me, okay, and with those kind of uniform type shirts on or whatever, but he really does not know how to think clearly. His brain is literally, or has literally been fried to a large degree. So to get those, the neurons, once they're gone, they're gone. You just have to get some new ones, but his brain is probably atrophied in a lot of places. So it's going to be a long time. And not only is his gravy train stopped, he's probably finding out that when you use other people's money, drugs, you can buy them up and waste all their money. But when you got to use your own, it's dipping into your discretionary income. So he's probably finding that out.
Yeah. And go ahead, Nicole.
I really, when listening to him, especially in that last clip where he talks about, if it were me, how dare you talk to my mother that way? It seems to me like he thought that there would be a legacy for him. Since his father served 7 terms in the Senate and was the president of the United States, that would have cleared a path for him to have some sort of position of power at the federal level here in our nation. Nothing could be further from the truth. This, I agree with Shelley. This is how his brain is functioning. Well, my last name is Biden, so the world should just lay down and just give me its riches because my father did all of this work. Well, sometimes you do inherit things from your parents. Unfortunately for you, you inherited a lot of things, right? That temper, number one, all of this cursing and carrying on. Number 2, that's not the drugs. That's the Biden. Joe Biden is a horrible piece of work. This man, as a politician, was just absolute dumpster fire. Right? He was hard to deal with, hard to talk to. He's not that little creepy Grandpa Joe sniffing little girl's hair. He was always a little bit of a rebel rouser, if you will. Right? So here's his hothead son who's got a drug problem that, it makes you think about all the people who could use some of those resources to get clean that he's just putting up his nose and in his arm. It makes you so sad to think that, it's not going to end well. If he can't get clean with all of those millions, it's not going to end well.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. He's got everything at his fingertips, and so he doesn't have to try. And so that is never a help for any addiction. You can't just have everything given to you. You have to want to get clean. You have to fight to get clean. And so he has never had to fight. He believes he is owed something, and that's a terrible combination. But one thing out of this that I actually enjoyed the whole thing, was the exposure of the Democrat Civil War. He really let a lot of cats out of the bag. He talked about Clooney and helped push Biden. He claims George Clooney helped push Biden out with a New York Times op-ed saying he should drop out. And so his response proved there's a deep resentment inside the Democrat machine. We're dealing with a fractured party where Hollywood elites and DC strategists are at war with the Biden family. And it sounds like that he is not going out without a fight. I hope he does more interviews.
Me too.
Let the left eat themselves alive.
I hope they get him on 60 Minutes Australia, because they ask the right kind of questions in Australia. They don't, none of this kid gloves situation that we do here. I hope they sit down and talk to him. Questions I would want to know. Number 1, Hunter, how do we fix it? Your last name's Biden. What's the fix? Oh, and I'm sure he would be rolling legislators under the bus, like this one's sleeping with this one's mother. This one's, got a Chinese lady locked up in a trailer in his backyard. He gonna let it fly. I would love for him to just open up his crazed brain and let it all fall out, because in every little nugget, there's going to be a little tiny piece of truth. A little tiny piece of truth. It would be juicy, KJ. We'd have to do a pop-in for that one.
Oh, yes, we do. And we could call it the pardon son versus the party elites. Yes, indeed.
Pop your corn. It's going to be good.
Yes, it is. It would be. It would really be good because he's got another interview lined up, I believe. Where did I see that? I don't know if this was the one or if this is another one he has lined up with where is it? Jamie Harrison is someone supposed to be interviewing him.
Oh, Jamie Harrison was the former DNC chair, the black guy, kind of chubby.
Okay,
I wonder if he's
now
being
lined
paid.
up for appearances. Well, I don't know. You go ahead. Mhm.
No, I just wonder if he's being paid. I don't know. I'm just,
Oh.
he's just getting his face out there or whatever. So whatever.
Who knows? Who knows? We will continue to follow this story, folks, and bring you all the juicy details. We certainly will. We gotta have some comic relief. I mean, with all this stuff, our blood pressure has been up with the Epstein, and then now we're waiting on hopefully some type of investigations come out with Obama and the Russia collusion. So, we need a little bit of comic relief with this, to tickle our fancy. So we will see. We will see what happens. Final topic of the night, Wes Moore, as we call him, Zest Moore. Okay, as they do on the Just the Guys podcast here on YouTube with us, our brother podcast, Just the Guys, at 6:30 on Saturdays. Definitely check them out. It's great content, and they call Wes Moore, the governor of Maryland, Zest Moore. All right. So we got to get into this interview he did on Fox recently, where this man lied through his teeth about everything. Take a look at this next clip. This is clip. Let me see, what clip do I have this as? Sorry, guys. We've gone from now 43rd in the country in unemployment to now having one of the lowest unemployment rates in the entire country for now over a year, where our unemployment rate right now is 3.2%, which is still a full point lower than the national average. That we had to be able to, focus on economic growth and sustainable economic growth.
Let me press you on that. Maryland budget surplus when Larry Hogan leaves office versus the current deficit under you. $5 billion surplus, current deficit $3 billion plus. The former Maryland Budget Management Department chief said they left this surplus plus a $2.5 billion rainy day fund, and essentially it was washed away with big spending by you and Democrats in the legislature. How do you respond to that?
I respond that that's been debunked over and over, that we actually turned a structural deficit, which has been predicted since 2017 and was not addressed by the previous government, and turned a structural deficit now into a surplus. And any surplus that we inherited was not a structural surplus, it was COVID money. And COVID money went to every single state around the country. And so to call that a structural surplus either shows that you are intentionally being factually incorrect, or you just don't understand math.
But you talk to some Marylanders, and they are concerned. There's this 3% tax on IT and data services. They feel that their electricity and power rates are going up. They're paying more for it. Fees and registration stuff, they feel it. And so what do you talk to them?
Well, the thing I say to them is that it's exactly why we really focused on doing things like tax reform that could actually give the middle class a tax cut. And in the tax reform that we just passed, 94% of Marylanders either got a tax cut or saw no changes in their taxes at all. And yes, I did ask those Marylanders who were doing very, very well to pay a little bit more. And so what it means by that is, a person making over $750,000 a year is now investing an average of $1,600 to $1,700 more. That's it. To be able to have the nation's best schools, to make sure we're not laying off our police officers and our firefighters. And I think that's the type of thing that's showing why Maryland now is not just watching population increase. In the Baltimore region alone, we're seeing the fastest population increase that we have seen now in a decade.
Wow. Wow. As they say here in Baltimore City, use a lie. All right. Use a lie. All right. All right, we got to break this down. I do want to acknowledge this one chat I saw in here. This is Kung Fu CJ says, what the hell is he talking about? He's a liar. He is such a liar. There was another. Oh, here it is. A Todd Bridges one. He said, Man, if he don't get his Todd Bridges face ass off TV with all this lying. Yes, indeed.
Yes.
He's
Yes.
a liar. And as Arnold told Willis,
what you talking about, Wes?
Yeah, Willis, what you talking about? Because that's what this man is a liar. Shelly, what are your thoughts?
He's been saying this lie for over almost 2 years now.
Yeah.
He's talking about this been debunked. No, what's been debunked is your lie. We had a surplus when Larry Hogan left office. You even wrote a letter thanking him about it. Okay,
We have the image of that. Image one.
Now, this structural deficit that he keeps talking about, what he fails to mention is that a big part of it is the Kerwin education, or what they call a blueprint of education, that is basically sucking the life out of Marylanders, because our noble, legislators in Annapolis did not fund it, did not put the money into it. They just made this bill that keeps sucking the life out of Maryland taxpayers. Westmore has lied from the beginning. He spent the money. Not only are we 3 point something billion in the hole, it's more than that, because he spent the $6 billion surplus. So he's lying. He goes on these shows. I wish Brett had pressed him a little bit more. I need to go watch. I'm going to watch the whole thing to see if it, but he's lying. We talked about this on our show, KJ. He irks us. He irks me to no end. He's so damn smooth with his lies. Again, we talked about earlier how these politicians, most of them black, at least in Baltimore and Maryland, they sound good, they look good, and and you get all this sense of ooh la la la, and then they are actually screwing you from behind.
Yeah, I mean, Nicole, as she said, he's as smooth as that milk dud head. What are your thoughts on that exchange?
First of all, that's absolutely gross. Let's just do that. That milk duds are delicious chocolatey treats, of which he is not one. Let's do that.
I'm sorry, I didn't know what else. Only other image I could say is an uncircumcised penis.
Oh Lord.
Well, I'm just going to leave that one right where it is. But he would be a little one, just a little tiny one. But with all of that said, Westmore is auditioning for the next level. And so it doesn't really matter if what he says is true. It's the fact that he keeps getting booked on, used to be just like local stuff, and then it was state stuff, and now it's national stuff. So he's trying to kind of ramp himself up as this audition for a vice presidential bid. But, what's interesting is if we put a good blowout wig on his head, with the words coming out of his mouth, he would sound just like Kamala, talking himself in a circle. There's no truth in it. And it's easily disproven. I mean, even by his own hand, that letter, so one of the things I loved about this interview, the one thing that just made my heart kind of beat a little faster, is he brought Larry Hogan back out of the shadows and was like, Ninja, what? Who say what? Now you can say what you want, but I ran this state up until COVID. He was doing a legitimate job at lowering costs for people. His first day in office, I think first week in office, he went around the state with a Sharpie and his Ray-Bans on and slashed all the tolls across the state. Westmore's not done anything that cool. He gives me Barack Obama vibes. He walks with a little, urban little limp situation, and every now and again he gets a touch of the Martin Luther King in his language. But what he's done here in Maryland? He's put his hand in our pockets up to the damn elbow. And that's what Barack Obama did to us nationally. And it was hard for Black people to reconcile the feeling of being robbed while he was smiling in your face in America's first Black president, right? So they had to hold their nose and say, well, white people do it too. They came up with all these excuses. Here in Maryland, I don't think there's anybody, not one person, that hasn't been kicked in the ass by this guy. There are people in Prince George's County right now who are getting their tax bills for their homes who are like, what the what?
Tax bills, Zoom, all this stuff is going up. Cable, they've added fees upon
registration, everything.
Right.
And I don't know where he gets that people are flocking to Maryland. He's a whole lie. Yeah. I know at least 5 very wealthy people who packed up and left this state and opened up their very good businesses in Virginia. Virginia is seeing a boom. Virginia is seeing Maryland run. Pennsylvania, West Virginia, anywhere where you can legitimately get back to work, within a 4-hour ride. People are running from these taxes. We don't, this is the point that these democratic socialist types don't understand. We don't have to live here. We can move to other places. I love Maryland. I love that we've got the mountains and the ocean and the bay and all of that in between, but I don't love it enough to spend everything I earn trying to live here.
Absolutely.
They would have to give me crab cakes more morning, noon, and night for me to even consider if this is going to be what we're going to see for the next couple of years, because this is unsustainable. And the thing about it, the thing that really got me on this interview is this man has no shame.
None.
He literally wrote a letter to former Governor Hogan praising him for his fiscal management and admitted in the letter Maryland was heading into a surplus. So
absolutely, yeah.
What changed? His $5.5 billion, he had a $5.5 billion surplus, and now it's a $3 billion deficit under his leadership.
Exactly. Keep in mind, look, what's his name? I can never say it. Mamdani.
Oh yeah,
Mamdani and others, they're coming out saying that they are democratic socialists. Westmore is not claiming that, but don't be mistaken, don't be fooled, because he's actually doing the work of a democratic socialist. So don't be so taken in again by his look good, feel good, sound good spiel on the airways and traversing all across the country. He is a socialist. If you want to call him communist, then that next step, just be wary, America. Be wary, audience. And then in your chat, let us know what kind of head he does have. What do you think? What kind of head Westmore does have?
First of all, take Raisinets off the list. That's another tasty treat. Can we stop comparing this man to tasty treats? Can we just compare him to other
why I
places
said
around
what
the
I
country?
said. That's why I said what I said. A small one. That's not well. All right, folks. We thank you. Thank you so much for watching with us. We can't go tonight without acknowledging the passing of the beloved Malcolm Jamal Warner. I'm not sure if you guys saw in the news, actor Malcolm Jamal Warner played Theo Huxtable on The Cosby Show. And he's been in several other shows since. Passed away today. He died in Costa Rica. Accidental drowning. Oh my gosh. So this one felt hurt. This one really hurt. Shelly, what are your thoughts on this? So sad.
Theodore Aloysius Huxtable. Interestingly enough, a lot of people know I like to watch old sitcoms. That's how I kind of zone out. And literally for the last month, I have been watching again all the seasons of The Cosby Show. And I am on season 8 right before Theo graduates from college, and then the series goes off, right? And almost every time I watch it, I find something new. And this time, it dawned on me that the series itself was created before, I think it was right before when Bill Cosby lost his own son in his Cosby, when he was murdered, right? And it just dawned on me, I could watch their relationship. He loved Malcolm Jamal. He loved that boy. He loved him like his own son. And so did Felicia Rashad. They loved those children and saw them, seeing them growing up. We kind of grew up together, right?
Yeah.
This was a heart pull. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I think he was only 54 years old, going on a vacation in this tragic accident. Nicole, what are your thoughts there?
I was a little speechless, because that character was such a big part of people who grew up in that era, people who have watched The Cosby Show since then. Not so much the acting that happened on the show, but the relationships. For some Americans, it was probably the first time that they saw a functional Black family, because before that was Good Times and the Jeffersons and, all that kind of thing where people were hooting and hollering, carrying on. But he played his role so well. And if you watch it, like Shelly, I have too, from the beginning, you can see him blossom in his relationship with Bill Cosby. That hurt that Bill brought and Malcolm kind of opened up his heart to him. You can see throughout the course of the show how that changed both of these men's lives. And it carries on to anybody who watches that show. Yes, it's funny. It has its humorous moments. It has some bittersweet moments every now and again. But what I found most interesting is the characters on that show who went on to have this kind of impact on America were not the main characters of the show. These weren't, he wasn't supposed to be the Theo Huxtable. He was supposed to be a bit character to the older daughter and to Denise, right? Who was supposed to be a tight jeans wearing, sassy talking person. Lisa Bonet made that character her own. And so did Malcolm Jamal Warner. Now, he went on to play lots of other characters, but kudos to him for being a child actor who didn't end up shooting himself, shooting somebody else, on drugs, strung out. He really had his head on straight. And I think that's a testament to that relationship that happened along the way. He did other things, and I'm sure he led a very full life. And, may his memory be a blessing to everybody who knew and loved him. And I'll count myself in that number. I'm never, ever going to forget the first time I saw him. We were marching in our high school parade, and it was my first time marching down Penn Avenue in Pittsburgh with my little cheerleading outfit. And boy, we was like, we're going to show out when we get down there by him, and he's going to like me. Other stuff. And it was just so exciting to think that he was in our little city, looking at us march down the street, to our band. It was just a very exciting time for us. So, it's hard when we lose people who are icons. But I think he knew that he was an icon, and he wore it well.
He certainly did. I mean, so many people talked about how he was a class act on screen and off screen. And so, his memory lived on. He was very private. As you mentioned, we didn't see his life and, everything's, scrolled across social media and the blogs and things. But he always, carried himself as an upstanding, respectable person. And so, and he was fine. Nice looking man. So it's very sad. But as someone said it in the comments, it just reminds us all, cherish every single moment, as you with your loved ones, with your friends, hug them, tell them you love them, tell them how you feel, because you never know. Tomorrow is not promised. It is not promised for any one of us. We thank God for each and every breath we take. And we just want to take the time and just love on our family and friends, love them up. So, our hearts, our thoughts, our prayers go out to his family, friends, and loved ones. And we'll continue to follow this. But this was so sad. Very sad.
Really, very sad. But I'm so glad we still have that legacy.
Yes.
Glad that he left that love for us.
Look, we've all seen the Cosby Show from season 1 through season 8, and so we know what's going to happen. I don't even want to finish the series. I mean, I don't even want to finish it. Three more episodes, and I can't even watch it.
Yeah, Jessica says, I had a crush on Theo when I was little. LMAO. Yes, everybody did.
Right?
He was the funny one. You could see him and his father and son relationship on the show. He had the girlfriends. He was just. It was an ensemble cast. But each one of them, left us with memories. It was just breakout moments from every last one of them, and particularly the only son in the household. He was, Theo's boy, and we watched him grow up from young teenager to a man. So we gotta It's a hard day for so many fans all over the world. We have some super chats here. Thank you all so much. Brown Eyes says, I saw a short documentary 2 days ago on YouTube, the Cosbys then and where they are now. Yes, with the $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Brown Eyes. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So we will continue to follow this story. And folks, we will be back on Wednesday. We'll be back on Wednesday live in the studio at 8 p.m. We're broadcasting at 8 p.m. right here on Poppin' Politics on YouTube. So definitely check us out. If you haven't done so already, hit that like button before you pop off of this broadcast. It certainly helps to get us out to a wider audience. And subscribe. We want to thank our moderators. We see you guys, everybody in the chat, all of the our
mods, the mods,
the moderators, and our people who are on here live. Yeah. So
Johnny, Trace, Josh.
Yes, Laura.
Yes, Kenzie's not here, but her mom is. Jessica, tell me.
Allie, Kimplin, Kimmy Plans,
yes.
Josh.
Lori everybody.
Thank you all. Thank you all.
Yeah, Jessica.
Before we go, remember, you guys, hit that like, share, and subscribe. And guess what? We forgot to mention this last week. We have over 800 videos on our channel. So, hey, woo, give us the hands up. Hit the like, share, and subscribe, and you can watch them all. Go and watch them all. Over 800 videos. I'm saying congratulations to us, but thank you all for your support, because we could never do it without you.
All right. Well, that does it. We will see you again on Wednesday night. Tomorrow, though, you can catch the All American Talk Show tomorrow on the All American Talk. They will be on at 6:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, breaking down the latest in news. So certainly check them out. If you go over there now and subscribe and you hit that notification bell, you will know when they go live. It's a great show, Nicolene and Phil Bell. So you don't want to miss it. All right. Until next time, count your blessings and live a life of purpose. Good night.
Good night, y'all.